Hey everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I'm Ralph from Food Network's Buddy vs. Duff. And I'm so excited to be talking about The Mandalorian with you guys. How cool is it that there is a Star Wars TV show?
Did you send Ralph the right minutes?
I figured this would be more fun.
Well,
No?
today we're not talking, but we'll get to The Mandalorian too. I want to get back to that at some point too. But today we're talking about minute 52 of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. 52 starts with Rey saying that that place was trying to show me something. Show me something.
Dang.
And it ends with an escape pod or some other kind of small ship racing away to somewhere exciting. I can only assume it's going to be going to some wild, fun new planet.
This movie has got the same problem that The Empire Strikes Back has. With like weird time dilation where somebody is learning from a wise master and it seems to take quite a long time, and then other people are like, well, lunch is done, oh, we gotta go.
Yeah.
You're like, it's
long time.
Their other thing is like a day.
Yeah. Force training luckily can happen in a very dense area. Maybe when you're near a force hole, time it gets distorted and you learn things quicker.
Why not? You know, that's the fact that you can learn the Force so fast is why they take people as children and hang on to them in a temple for decades before they let them be a master.
Right.
Yeah.
So they spend 10 years learning time dilation, and then they study for their home. It's like the end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where it's just like, oh, we have to finish our thing, and then right.
Well, you're spoiling it for Alex.
Alex hasn't seen it.
You haven't seen any of is that a bit, or have you not seen the Bill and Ted?
I've never seen any of the Bill and Ted trilogy.
Oh wow, the first one is excellent, super charming.
The second
The
one
second
is a
one
little
is
bogus.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Wow. Thanks, you parrot jerks.
I'm worried I
second
missed
one
my
is-
window. I'm worried I missed my window. Like if I had seen it when I was 20 years old,
That's possible.
I probably would have loved it. But well, then again, I
don't
was
know.
a snooty 20-year-old.
It's got time travel and history.
And
So
George
you'll
Carlin,
probably
right?
like it. And George
Yeah,
Carlin.
it's also it's weirdly earnest. Like it's a good natured kind of dopey movie.
never really pretends to be something that it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like more things like that. Everything's so
Um,
arch nowadays. And today's music and kids playing on my lawn. I just realized how old I was starting to sound. But it is
Maybe it's
it
no
is very
coincidence
fashion-
that we
Yeah.
all love Hermit Luke because
Yeah.
we're all closer to that than the young idealistic Luke Skywalker.
In my defense, though, it is very fashionable for things now it might be going out of fashion a little bit, but like for the last 10 years, like for everything to be very self-aware and a little arch was like de rigueur in big pop entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I like it when stuff is earnest and a little dopey, like
Yeah.
Paddington 2.
Hmm.
Good heavens, that movie is excellent.
It is.
But is it the Empire Strikes Back of the Paddington franchise?
In no way.
I
is
think
it that.
I think it's more like The Godfather 2 of the Paddington franchise.
Wrong show.
It's the opposite of the Lost World of the Paddington franchise.
Okay.
It's the Found Moon of the Paddington franchise.
Pete.
The So speaking of old cranky man Luke,
Yes.
the
Let's talk about it.
Rey is talking to him, and it sounds like she's kind of like really subtly dissing him right here, because she's like, he's like, whoa, what's going on? You went straight to the dark, and he was like that. She's like, that place, it showed me
Tell me
something. Oh no, Luke was like, oh, it showed you something you needed, and she's like, yeah, I didn't see you, so it's like, I don't need you. Like, hey, yeah, it showed you everything you need. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't see you there, loser.
That's pretty funny. I didn't. When you started that, I was like, well, I didn't read it that way at all. And then I realized you were doing a joke.
Am
I get jokes.
Yeah, it is a weird. I like that Luke is so like you didn't even try to stop yourself from going to the dark side. Like,
right.
I don't know. To me, that seems like a kind of like that's the teacher's responsibility to say, listen, okay, you might be tempted by the dark side, but like he's immediately blaming her for all his poor education choices.
Well, Luke is a whiner.
Yeah, and she found out about the dark side like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, you know.
Like, listen, my whole life, all I knew was cleaning sand out of military surplus. Right. Give me a break.
You think they would bond over that?
Plus, not to make this the rag on Luke minute, but
do it.
Like, also, like, you know, so like this, Yoda should show up now and be like, Skywalker, like, can I show you something? And like put on the video of Luke like bringing his gun into the magic cave and immediately just like, you know, lightsabering his father, like, you know, like totally like attacking first and doing that, like that. Like, Luke failed harder, I think. Rey was just like, whoa, like I started to go towards the dark side and I backed off, whereas Luke was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I think it's one of those things where he's just retroactively, like, if you asked him, when did you bring your tree? He's like, no, I wouldn't have brought my weapons into the magic tree. You know, I'm sure he totally is rewriting, you know, history and, you know, he's Obi-Wanning himself, of trying to make himself look like he's the victim in the story as opposed to, you know, dropping the ball.
Yoda told him, is like, hey, man, there's nothing in that cave, so you really don't need a gun. And Luke was like, yeah, we'll see who doesn't need a gun in a cave.
Well, I was very intrigued by Luke saying it was offering you something you needed, the force hole,
the seaweed hole.
Does that also apply to the magic tree? Did Luke need to see Darth Vader in that tree? Was it basically tapping into what he needed and offering it to him?
Well, it's interesting that Luke is saying what you needed and not what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, is that, I think it was. I think because Luke...
Did he say needed and not wanted?
He said it offered you something you needed.
Right.
Yowza.
Not you, Luke. But it's not, like, I think he did. He needed to, you know, Luke, in the same boat. Luke always wanted to know about his father. His father was what he needed. You know what I mean? Like, he was...
Even though at that point, he didn't know, when he saw Darth Vader in the magic tree, he didn't say, oh, there's my father.
So later he was like, oh, the magic tree was showing me something that I needed.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same, you know, call to Rey, because as we later know, Rey will have a similar experience of going in kind of seeking, you know, who am I?
Mm-hmm. And we also later learn, of course, that the dark side hole is lying to her by saying that she's nobody because she's actually the offspring of Palpatine. So
maybe
it is an evil force hole. You really should take everything it says with a grain of space salt.
I think I would take the word of the evil force hole before I would take the word of Emperor Palpatine.
Wow.
Although
it never occurred to me, and it should have, that Palpatine could have just been lying to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to choose to believe that.
We're going to have to watch that in the third one and see if it's possible. So that means there have to be an 11th one, or episode 10, where we find out she actually is the offspring of no one, and then it just keeps going back and forth.
Well, here's what happens in episode 10, is Marie Skywalker shows up, and it's just like, what the hell's going on over here? You guys wrecked the place while I was gone. Where's my daughter? And then, boom, we find out.
Yeah. That should have been the closing, the post-credit sting in Rise of Skywalker. So,
guys, I'm back. What did I miss? Oh,
yeah. We'll talk about that in 2 years. I think Mark Hamill does some good acting in this one. I think he does a good job and especially knowing that he didn't agree with the choice of Hermit Luke. I think he does a pretty good job of selling it, even though he disagreed with the choice.
Well, he's great in this, and also I gotta stick up for that choice again in this movie because, like, J.J. Abrams wrote them into that situation, you know, like without a thought. He was just like, yeah, Luke's been gone for 20 years, and then that leaves the next person to go, okay, well, why would our idealistic hero hide from the galaxy for 20 years? Something really bad must have happened.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, my understanding is that came from George Lucas beforehand. That he was like, he said Luke is like a Colonel Kurtz kind of character where he's off in hiding somewhere after something bad happened.
Okay, but George Lucas is a bad writer. We know that.
And
Alex does not agree.
I don't know. I think it's very tempting to slam George Lucas for a lot of stuff, but literally none of this would we would not be here if he had not right. I don't know.
But how much of that comes from his collaborators, we don't know. But there's good. But Luke is Lucas, not Lucas. Luke S is judgy, and he starts to and he's scared and not only does he see not only does he know is he scared that Rey went straight to the dark side, but also that she seems to know she's onto his gimmick of, hey, I disconnected from the Force, and she's also has to be powerful in order to have kind of jumped straight to this, and then he's like, I've seen this kind of raw power only once before,
which I do think kind of excuses his you just went straight to the reaction he has, that's out of fear.
Yeah,
and also he's a loser, but it's that's old wormy Skywalker.
Master Wormy.
It's hard to say wormy and not sound like Kermit the Frog. Wormy.
Although you could say it like Miss Piggy, just saying Kermie. You'd be like, oh, Wormy. I can't even do a good Piggy.
No, it was eerie. It was like Piggy was still alive and with us.
How do you think Luke cuts himself off from the Force? Is it like a reverse meditation? Is it
we joked about this a week or two ago that he had to relearn what he had unlearned. He had to hold on. He had to I don't know.
He had to listen to his conscious self, ignore his instincts.
Right.
What's the opposite of think? Reaching out with your feelings?
Or opposite. He had to think, not feel.
Right.
Pushing in with your analytical brain.
Right.
Alex, this is the second time that you've really just stopped me dead in my tracks. Because it never occurred to me to think how he closed himself off from the Force. I was just like, oh yeah, magic. He did that magic.
Yeah, I just don't. Is it like the Hulk where he, I don't know if is it like the Hulk? Is it like Bruce Banner where he's always in contact with the Force and the only times it's not is when he's consciously holding it down, or is it vice versa where,
where he switches bodies with his father?
Yes, exactly.
I think it's more like he had to work to cut it off and then has to work to get it back. Because then later we see him, he doesn't immediately do it. It takes some effort for him to kind of get back in touch with it.
So it's like exercising. He hasn't worked out in a while. He's all flat, soft, and flabby, and
a little bit,
and like that. Dude, do you even lift? Do you even force lift?
I don't know. I got to tell you something. Recording these sessions is exposing one of my bad habit. I guess it's not a bad habit, but whenever I'm recording something, I'm always just fiddling with toys and stuff, just to
give your hands something to do.
Yeah. But I can't do that when we're recording because then it's obvious that I'm just looking down and not at the conversation.
No, you can pretend what makes you comfortable.
No, I gotta stay engaged. Here I am. Yeah. Look at this. You get all of this face right here. Not the people who are listening in podcast form. Those are the smart ones. Those are the people who will be referred to as the survivors from here on out.
I can fiddle with the stuff on my desk, and it's Mark Hamill. There you go. It's germane to the minute.
Mine is also germane to the minute. It's a Homer Simpson Buddha.
So there you go.
There you go.
Now I just wish we were all together playing with our guys.
So Luke has cut himself off from the Force, which merely makes me wonder what he saw when Rey got soaked with water. Did he just see Rey sitting on the ground, flopping around and
right.
It's
like watching somebody do VR.
Yeah.
It's even funnier because it wouldn't have that John Williams soundtrack to it. Yeah. It would be just Luke sitting there listening to the waves and porgs, watching Rey go.
Right.
Yeah.
Lying on the ground. violence and peace and death, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, she's like having a drug trip, and he's like the chaperone, just
Right.
there to make sure she doesn't throw herself off the cliff or anything.
Just remember, you're a living being on this planet.
If she did throw herself off the cliff in her Force-induced mania, could Luke get back in touch with the Force quick enough to pick her up?
Oh, he would have just gone to bed. He would have just
watch
been
her
like,
fall.
all right, dodged the bullet on that one and gone back to bed.
There's all the corpses of all the people who came to him for training over the years laid on the beach.
He takes them all out onto that really narrow precipice to be like, okay, lesson 1.
Do you think they all brought him one of his knickknacks too? Like as an offer, like he's just got all of his old stuff. They're like, I got your toy T-16 Skyhopper, sir. You're like, I'm not throwing that. That's awesome.
You know how much this goes for on space eBay? I do like that idea because they're like Horcruxes almost. So it's like, oh, you can put them all together, like all these little things from his
Horcruxes.
Yeah.
Wormy.
Somebody brings the Gilligan hat and goggles.
Treadwell droid. And...
Yeah. Treadwell shows up.
Dude, I want a movie that's just the kind of losery characters from the background of Star Wars. Like, let's get a Reese and Treadwell movie.
I bet they'll show up in The Mandalorian.
The biggest loser in all of Star Wars. I don't know what it is about that character. Look at him and like, that is just like a sad four-flusher. That guy has never had anything go right in his entire existence.
Did he die on the sail barge? He was on the sail barge when it blew up, right?
He could have. Honestly, even if he wasn't on the sail barge, he would have died from something unrelated that same day in the safety of the palace because he was a loser with wieners for eyes.
I hope we see him in the Book of Boba Fett forthcoming.
Dude, I cannot tell you how many people I want to see in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, top of the list, I want to see grizzled old Bosk.
I wonder how long do Bosks live?
I don't know. If they're like Earth reptiles, forever.
Yeah.
But also like space. Who knows?
Yeah.
I do like the idea of him looking like an old pet. Like he's like, Bosk is like lost. His skin is kind of grayish and it's like flaking. Yeah. And he's got like one kind of completely clouded over eye and he just keeps licking and he's like,
big like waddly neck.
Yeah.
Like a real lapty neck.
Well, one thing I really like is, and it's not this minute, but apparently Dengar shows up in this film.
In this film?
It's implied that it's Dengar.
Get out of here.
Yeah, there's a, if you look in, it might be in Rise of Skywalker. If you look in the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary, there's one character, and his name is Dengar, kind of scrambled up, and he's like more cyborgy.
Yeah, it's really upsetting if that is him. I don't care for that.
That's one aspect of Rise of Skywalker. I will say, thumbs up to that.
Isn't that in the John Williams scene too?
I don't know.
We'll get there.
I'll tell you what.
We got
though,
2 years to look at it.
I have the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary. Or the guide or whatever, that book. But my Lando Calrissian page is signed by Billy D. Williams from when we did the finale of Buddy vs. Duff season 2 in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and he was the guest host of that episode.
Had you met him previously?
I had not.
Were you like, oh my God, that's Lando?
Yeah, he is very old. So good for him.
Yeah.
But also he cracked me up. Because he came out and he was looking at like our two, the finale of the thing, Duff's team and our team, and we had both made big Star Wars themed cakes, and Duff's team did the X-Wing in the swamp with Yoda, and we had the Millennium Falcon in like a docking bay with Porgs and Babu Frick.
Nice.
And Billy D comes out, and he's looking at the two cakes. He's like, magnificent. And he goes over he's talking to Buddy, and he's like, I have to tell you, what you and your team do is art. You people are true artists. I've seen the show before, and the things you make are magnificent. And he looks over at Duff, and he goes, now this other guy, I don't know him.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
That's a great Billy D story.
And I was like, nice. Throwing some shade. Yeah, good minute of the movie this is.
Speaking, as I did briefly, of the John Williams cameo, and speaking of what we were talking about yesterday a little bit with including other people's music in things, when Luke says, I've seen this kind of raw power only once before, they, of course, play the Raw Power by Iggy Pop and the Stooges. No, they play...
I didn't catch that. That's cool.
They play the little Kylo Ren music really subtly in the background. And when he's like, only once before in Ben Solo, and it's like, ba, 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 ba. It's like a little sad, like... they should have done it totally with a wah wah trumpet, like wah 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 wah, like wah.
There's a lot of very Muppety energy to this conversation today. I just want to point that out.
It's a Muppety minute on our side, not in the movie itself. On screen, you wouldn't know it, but
I'd be listening to that podcast. Tell you what.
I tried to get Tony Thaxton to do a Muppet Show podcast, go through every episode of the Muppet Show, and he said
not with you. You just wanted him to do it. You're like, I want to hear it. Can you just do that for me?
Either way, but he said he's already doing too many podcasts, so someone else will have to do it. Speaking of which, so but we're about to jump to a different part of the story. Do you have anything else you want to say about Luke and Rey here, or do we should start talking about?
No, I really think the Luke and Rey stuff is very powerful. It really speaks to me.
It's not as the Lieutenant Connix stuff is not as compelling. I agree.
Kiddo Connix quite compelling.
I do like her uniform. I like the prominence of the rebel insignia on her uniform. I wonder why the rebels don't all wear uniforms. Period. I guess because they're rebels?
It's really not uniform if they're not all wearing it, is it?
Yeah. It's like as long as you have that symbol on it, you can get away with it. But
they're headed towards the danger zone because they're getting too much into their symbols and insignia. That's you notice that the resistance is using that, like it keeps getting bigger and bigger. They're more into it, and even later by the end of this movie, we'll see Rose just showing it to somebody indicates that that's the side that they're on, where it was more of like a kind of a unofficial insignia or something for at least in Star Wars. Then it kind of grew more official as it goes, but they're headed for just like the Jedi Order. They're getting too into themselves, and there's going to be a whole thing.
I got badly distracted because we cut to like handsome Oscar Isaacs.
Mm-hmm.
He's so handsome. And why does he always look wet? He always looks like someone has misted him. Like he glistens.
Maybe he just had his own experience with the seaweed cave.
He's just brimming with the juices of life.
Are you talking about Poe Dameron, or are you talking about Oscar Isaacs in everything?
I don't know if I've noticed him so wet in other things, but he is just sopping in these Star Wars movies. He's always wet.
Maybe he's from a cold planet, and so being out
he's just sweaty all the time.
Yeah, anytime he goes to normal planets, he's like, "Whoo, boys, it's steamy in here. Is it me?" And they're like,
If we don't know where he's from, I'm saying he's also from Stewjon, the planet that Obi-Wan is from, that was named on The Daily Show.
Right.
Oh, Stewjon. Do they anyway? I was gonna start talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, but not appearing in this film.
Right.
But we could talk about him.
So we see the ship leave the Raddus. We see them escape in their ship, and they immediately jump to light speed out of the thing.
I keep forgetting that it's named the Raddus, and I love that.
It is good.
Yeah,
I like that they have that connection.
Yeah, because I like Raddus. I'm just an easy target for like Mon Cal military officers. I love them.
Did you have any? It happened a couple of minutes ago. Did you have any strong feelings about the death of Admiral Gaius Akbar?
His first name's Gaius?
I don't know. I was just saying.
No,
Gil Akbar.
Gil Akbar. Oh, Gil.
It's Gial. Something like that.
It is.
It's a shame that it can't be given the weight that it should, because the movie needs to keep moving, and this is a movie that is packed with stuff happening. It almost feels like if you're not going to make a moment of it, don't do it.
So they should have saved him for Rise
of
Skywalker.
Or just, like it. Yeah. He's kind of only in the movie. He's kind of only in The Force Awakens for people to go, oh, I know him.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the whole reason the Force Awakens exists. Everyone goes,
yes, everything in that movie.
It's like previously on Star Wars.
That movie.
Yeah.
I've been handed an update about Mr. Poe Dameron.
Yes.
Poe Dameron was born on Yavin 4.
Oh, wow. What, really?
Yes, he was the son of
He's a native Yavinian.
2 enlisted rebels. So, Ben
Dameron and Jin Dameron.
2 ABY. Sharabe.
2 ABY?
Dameron. 2 ABY.
He was on. They were still on Yavin 2 years after the battle. What were they doing there? Why weren't they off with the rebels?
I know what they were doing about 9 months before 2 ABY.
Yeah. Clap. Did they pull a Biggs lighter and a Biggs dark lighter and jump out of the rebels to just kind of? Did they go native on Yavin 4?
I don't know. It looks like they no, because they were in
a movie explaining this.
And then he rarely saw his parents due to the Alliance's continued operations against the Imperials. So they were.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, you didn't see them they had continued operations. They were always they were out on maneuvers.
Sorry, kid, no attachments. You stay in Yavin 4. We're going to help go fight with the rebels.
All of this is where is this from the comic? Because speaking of everything that we were just talking about, 6 months after the Battle of Endor, after the Imperial remnant put forward Operation Cinder, Poe Dameron and his parents left Rebel service to reunite with him, settle on Yavin 4, and build a house in a colony, close to which they planted a Force-sensitive tree, a gift from Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker.
And they dug a scary hole.
Yeah.
How do you know a tree is Force-sensitive?
Maybe it was one of those Ithorian trees. It was a Bafor tree.
The more that it gets built up, the more the Force is crystals and auras and stuff. We're gonna come all the way back around to the Force doesn't exist by the time we're done with this. Like, see,
I love the idea that there's no Force and Obi-Wan is just drunk in that first movie.
Is the tree in the is the secret Jedi text kept in a Force sensitive tree?
You mean the Marty Jannetty tree?
Yeah. Was it sensitive with the Force before they hollowed it out to put books in it?
Yeah, because I think are the books made out of that tree or something like that?
Oh, I don't like that, by the way.
Which part?
I don't.
The tree or
the tree, the rock. I don't like the paper books.
Yeah,
don't care for it.
You think they should have had a Jedi Kindle?
I think so. Listen, man, we know that in all the old Republic nonsense, they still have R2 units. They just have little wheels instead of feet. And you're going to tell me that when technology's been basically at this same level for 1,000 generations, but those books are paper and they're that old that the paper survived? You go back thousands of years and there's still electronic books in this universe. So this is 20,000-year-old paper book?
But it's Force sensitive paper, so it's archival.
I don't care for that answer. I would like you to take this more seriously. This is important stuff. Otherwise, what are we doing here, Peter?
Yeah, I just had to close the page that when I clicked on Force sensitive
the paper
tree,
book page, you just
no the digital page. I had to close that page on Wikipedia for the Force sensitive tree because it led to a whole thing about the great tree, which was
it a dark side hole?
It was a dark side.
Also, the first person we see die in the movie, Paige.
Oh, look at that! This is about how people don't read anymore. This whole movie.
Yeah, that's
the death of print.
My fiance was very excited that there was a character in a Star Wars movie that had her name. She has exactly one Star Wars action figure, and it's a Paige in the package in her little makeup room.
Nice.
And was she like thrilled? Was she like, yeah, Paige? And then Paige blew up like 3 minutes into the movie, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, look, listen, there's never going to be a Ralph in a Star Wars movie. I'm never going to have the Ralph action figure from Star Wars.
Maybe.
That's a tough one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're not. Nobody's canonized you yet.
Surely you must be canonized by now.
I am not. It's a sore spot. We talked about this on that weekend episode last time I was here. Somebody put my name in Star Wars.
Yeah,
you are
Lando, for crying out loud.
I did meet Lando, and I don't think I'm canonically a part of the NCU anymore.
Oh, did they go back and edit that out?
I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon anymore.
I think it is. I don't know.
Let's say it's canon unless disproven.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. Just for people who have no idea what I'm talking about, there's in the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they make a reference to somebody watching a Cake Boss marathon, and I was on Cake Boss when that episode came out. So
therefore
you
exist in the MCU.
I exist in the MCU. But not Star Wars.
Not yet.
Right.
You know who I hope is still canon? Vilmar Grark.
Who is that?
He was a Deveronian like bounty hunter with a funny accent who was in the comics. He was Villy. He had nothing done in the old Dark Horse Star Wars comics. He would show up and he had his
Dark Horse guy.
He had a funny accent and would occasionally say bark. He wouldn't bark. He would say the word bark.
Huh. Was it supposed to be him literally saying bark, or was it like Chewbacca where they're just kind of trying to approximate what it sounded like?
I don't know. It always had an exclamation point after it. I always assumed he was just saying bark.
Picture being like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. It's like bark every now and then.
Oh, I see. He's a red guy too.
Yeah, I really liked him. He was
Red Devronian.
He was fun. He filled a similar space in my mind that Death's Head does in the Marvel comics.
Okay.
That's all. I like both of those characters. They both have horns and funny accents.
Apparently, he's in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, the game.
Oh.
Is that a new game or an old game?
I think it's semi-recent.
Is that still canon?
And what?
Is it still canon?
Galactic Battleground. Oh no, 2001 real-time strategy game.
Yeah, that's around the time that he was in the comics and stuff too. Right. Oh man, speaking of games, have you guys played the VR Tales from Galaxy's Edge game?
I started the Galaxy's Edge one. We each played the first chapter or two of the Darth Vader Unleashed VR one, but I started the Galaxy's Edge one and then I got distracted. But I should go back and do more in it because it seems fun.
The Vader one is very like linear, like you have to just go through the story. The Galaxy's Edge one is a little more open,
sandboxy.
Yeah, and it's a little more gun shooting. It's fun.
Okay,
I like it. What were we talking about? Star Wars. Poe Dameron. He's soaking wet.
52.
52.
Yeah.
Passing debris.
Beautiful man.
Passing debris.
Passing debris. That's what you do at a wine and cheese party.
That's right.
That's
a mouthful of tea. I would have beat you to that joke.
I should have Karnaked that. But yeah, they're looking like we have to have this little scene in of I mean, not that we have to. I don't know. It's interesting. It's slightly superfluous, but I'm not complaining about it. But it's like, a little blip and Holdo being like, "What was that?" And then Cato Kokonix being like, "Nothing, just passing debris," and like giving a wink and a thumbs up to Poe, who's just like hiding behind a shelf or something, and he's like, like they're looking extra sneaky, suspicious.
See, this is what I don't like about the Holdo storyline. Okay. Poe has to learn to trust authority and do what he's told. So does Connix also? Connix is participating in this cover-up in conspiracy. How come she doesn't get in trouble? Or how come she doesn't?
She's taking orders from Poe.
Because Poe is the senior officer on the ship who should be told, like, what's going on?
Not anymore. He doesn't need to know in this scenario.
I don't like it. Because it also implies that Connix is like, well, I don't know who this lady is either, so I'm also going to go along with the conspiracy. Whereas she should be like, Poe, why are you, This is the vice that, like, I don't know.
I have to agree with Alex. It just it's also a conflict that like isn't satisfying narratively.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care for it. There's as I said last episode, there's a lot about this movie that frustrates me.
I don't think characters in a Star Wars movie should learn to do less fighting. That's the thing. Unless it's like I'm not going to fight because of it'll turn me to the dark side kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, an X-Wing pilot should not be punished for being a good X-Wing pilot. Anyway.
Yeah, wars is one of the two words in Star Wars. Like, you have fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the star. That's all I got for minute 52.
Yeah, that is also all I have for this minute.
Yeah. We can bring it to tomorrow. Ralph, can you come back tomorrow?
I can. I don't have a bit for this. I can and I will.
Okay.
I can kick conics kick kak.
Can Conics continue? Hey, you know what we got? Look at Alex's shirt there. Not that one. That one's not available anymore. But we have other designs like that that are available at StarWarsMinute.com/merch, MERCH. And that gets you to our T-shirt designs. We've put up a couple from this season so far, like the Porgo Loco one from Joe Dater and the Rostico Tay's Crazy shirt, which came from our week with the George Lucas Talk Show guys. So
Kitster.
Kitster, which brought about by just nothing, a stupid idea that I had. And
that Tay's Crazy.
Why we're here.
So go check it out. I'm sure you'll find something you like in T-shirt form, mug form, tapestry, pillow, notebook. So go check it out, see what you want, buy something, and we'll meet you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Yes.